Hello, hello. How's it going? We are definitely starting to get into autumn, and if you're a busy filmmaker, you're probably already thinking about next year. And after everything really grinding to a halt in 2020, and then what should have picked up this year but never really got started, 2022 is essentially what everyone is planning for now, which means it is a perfect time to start putting a few things in motion so you can make more films next year and make sure you don't get left behind when the production boom hits. I'm going to estimate spring. I think that's when we're up there. Spring, summer, depending on what happens in Christmas. And this is just UK based. I don't really know what's going on in terms of the US or other countries, but generally speaking, there is going to be a huge production boom as soon as it is viable to be properly into production and not have the delays that we have had for the last year and a half now. So spring, summer, I think Christmas is going to be like tiebreaker, you know what I mean? You start to get a sense of where we're actually at as soon as everyone starts traveling and going home for Christmas. But now is the perfect time to start putting a few things in motion just so you can make sure that you are prepped and ready to go and you're not finding yourself left behind when everything goes into overdrive, essentially. So if you're new here, my name is Charlotte. I'm a producer and the filmmaker's career coach. I'm helping you transform your notebooks full of ideas into successful full-time film careers, mostly so that you can make the projects that you love, feel creatively fulfilled, and do what you've always dreamed of. So if it sounds good, you're in the right place. So the first essential to making more films next year is a pretty wide range of ideas. If you spent most of last year and this year as well, actually, creating, developing, and writing, then you should be good to go with this. But if not, type ideas in the comments and I will share my hack to create 15 pitch-ready ideas in 5 minutes with you. So, in terms of ideas, you're probably ready and raring to go, right? But here's the thing, so is everyone else. Everyone else had exactly the same standstill. Everyone else has exactly the same, number of ideas kicking around. They all have a development slate bursting with ideas, and it means that the competition to get producers to look your way will be even crazier than usual. But you know that we don't let competition or rejection get in our way here, so this is how we're going to rise above that. We're going to start by organizing your development slate. So this is really just a fancy way of saying organize your ideas. If you are on the spot and you know you have a perfect project to pitch to someone, but you can't really remember it, then you're missing out on a golden opportunity. And that, especially as we get into next year, is something we really can't afford to make happen, or to let happen rather, for you. So put all of your ideas in one place. I like using Google Docs because you can easily add to it. It's always accessible, but you might be a old-fashioned notepad and pen kind of person. Either is fine. So once all your ideas are in one place, start seeing how much information you have for each one. You might have a logline for some, a script for others, an outline for others, all of which is totally fine, by the way. But under each idea, you just want to make a note of what you currently have and what stage it's currently at. So if you've written the logline and you have a solid outline that you're happy with, you could put completed outline in current stage. Automatically, this is going to make it a lot easier for you to see what you have at a glance, as well as sift through your ideas whenever you need to. And this is really important because I think there's a real misconception that you have to have a finished script before you can even mention the project to producers. And I always do finished script in air quotes because a script is never finished until you've actually completed the film and completed post-production. So it's always a little bit of a red flag for me when someone says, oh yeah, I've got a finished script. I'm like, oh, okay, I know it's not finished. That's a conversation for a later date. So you don't need a finished script in order to start pitching projects. I have successfully pitched projects just with a logline. And so this is why it's really useful to see what stage each project is at, because if you're just having a conversation with someone and you know this project is perfect for them, you want to be able to dive into it as soon as they say that they're interested. So by knowing that you have the logline and that the next step is the outline or the beat sheet or whatever your personal development process next step is, it means that you don't have to lose any time reconstructing that idea or trying to figure out what it was. So you go back in, you see what you have, you find out that the outline is your next step, and you can get on with it straight away. So add in current stage, add in next step. This is something that I like to do with all of my clients as we carve out their personal development process so they always know the next step. So if you've currently got the completed outline, for example, the next step might be drafting the beat sheet or crafting a character bio, creating a mood board. Everyone's process is different, so just having a reliable, repeatable process that's really personal to you, it means you can rely on that as you go through each project, and it's going to make your life so much easier, especially as we get really busy next year. If you've got multiple projects going on at the same time, it's really useful to know at a glance where everything is at so that you don't have any overwhelm, you don't have any crazy to-do lists, and you don't find yourself losing time wondering what you're actually meant to be doing. So now when you look at your slate, you can pick any idea to picture to start working on it, because you know exactly where you got to when you last worked on it, and you know what you need to do next. So quick recap, you're going to put all of your ideas into one place, preferably a Google Doc, but whatever works for you. Add in all of the information you currently have for that project. That might be the logline, synopsis, character info, the script structure that you want to go for if you're doing something a little bit different from the standard 3-act structure. Any information that you have, put it in there on your slate, along with current stage and then next step. Easy, efficient, organized development so you can work on multiple projects at a time. Make sense? Okay. So this really is going to be essential as we get into a very busy next year, as production begins to ramp up again, not just because you're going to have multiple things going on, but also let's not discount the fact that we've been operating at like 10% for the last year and a half. It's going to be a real shift to go back into working like 100%. After such a long break, no one should be surprised if it feels overwhelming at first. So this is why I like to put everything kind of in place and make it as easy and organized and efficient as possible, so that that transition back into like normal work or regular working doesn't feel absolutely insane. And the thing is, filmmaking, like whatever scale, whether it's a 2-day short film or whether it is a 6-week feature film with like a crazy things going on, it's always hard work. And that's why we want to make it as easy as possible for you to do what you do best, right? So you have all your ideas organized, you have them in one place, and you can put them down and pick them back up whenever you like. That is something that's going to be quite key, because you never really know what someone is going to be interested in green lighting, and especially post-pandemic, it's a very volatile industry, so you want to have as much variety as possible, because you just can't predict what's gonna fly with certain people at any given time. So next step is transitioning from getting those sentences in a Google Doc to a completed film. And the answer to that is pitching, and a lot of it. There is a real, again, another misconception, but it's a real misconception in the short film space that you either don't need a producer, or if you do, you should post in Facebook groups asking for producers to email you. And it's not my favorite. I'm talking those like, hi, short film ready to go, looking for a producer to attach, must have 2 previous producing credits, email us at like blah, blah, blah. Not the way to go. No, not only is it actually pretty disrespectful to producers that you're trying to work with, it's also the total opposite of how filmmaking actually works outside of that low to no budget short film world. If your goal is to move on to bigger outside of that world projects, then you need to be pitching to producers, and it doesn't have to be scary or overwhelming or like any of the things, but it is an absolutely essential step to getting your film from that Google Doc onto the big screen. So you've got your slate, you need to be pitching. Now it's about actually finding those producers, right? So I'd love to say that we all hang out in one corner of the internet and you can grab us all at once, but sadly not. The easiest way to do it, and my personal favorite way to do it, is to find similar films or similar projects to what you want to make and then reach out to those producers. Now, this does not mean sending out a bunch of cold emails with your script attached. Those never go down well, and worst, they'll never read an email from you again. Instead, it means building a personal connection with that individual. So, not mentioning any of your projects, just reaching out to say that you really enjoyed their film and you'd love to jump on a Zoom call or buy them a coffee sometime. It's low key, it's relaxed, it's friendly. That's kind of what we're going for here. And that really is the second essential to making more films next year, because we already know that cold pitching is not the greatest thing to do, and likely you don't feel great doing it. But building connections with producers now creates opportunities for you next year to pitch to them. I am much happier receiving a pitch from someone I know compared to someone I've never spoken to before. Which is, it probably sounds a bit mean, but the reason is because filmmaking is a personal business. I mean, think about it from your perspective. How likely are you to actually commit to 6 months of working on a project with someone you've had no contact with before? I don't know. I don't know many people that would jump at the chance every single time, whereas someone that you know, it's less of a leap, right? So filmmaking really is a personal business, and it is never just about the idea. It really depends on how well you get on. Can you work together? Do you have the same vision for the project? So when you start creating those connections now, it gives you and your pictures a much better chance in a couple of months' time. So to recap, organize all of your ideas so you have a streamlined, efficient, and easy development process to rely on. Then you want to find producers who are already making films that you resonate with. Start building personal connections with them. Once you've built that connection with them, that's when you can move on to pitching. And as you move into pitching, that is when your projects start to get picked up. That is when things will start to get moving for next year. Everything that we wanted, right? Sound good? Okay. So, as always, if you have questions in the comments, put them in the comments, or you can DM me. And I am super excited because I have one slot available for this month for a private Launch Your Film Career Intensive. This is a private half-day call where you and I get on Zoom, we overhaul your branding, we build your slate, we carve out your custom development process, and uncover the best networking style for you so you're able to do all of the above with complete clarity and confidence, and actually just get the hell on with what you do best, which is making films, right? So these tend to go pretty quickly. It's why I've only got one left. So if you're interested, just send, or want some more info, just send me a DM, drop your favorite emoji in the comments, whatever works best for you. But for now, I will let you go and organize your slate and start researching some producers, and I will talk to you soon.